My guest today is Kim Costa. She's the author of Live in Your Wheelhouse, the creator of the Wheelhouse Method, and a top 5% luxury real estate agent with Atlanta's fine home, Sotheby's International Realty. After 27 years at the top of her field, she walked away completely and rebuilt her professional life from scratch in her 50s. Not because she had failed, but because she was brave enough to admit the life she had built no longer fit who she was becoming. Today, I know we met through Brand Builders Group, and I loved hearing about your journey and as a realtor, and then going out and creating your own book and your podcast and all of that. I would love for you to share a little bit with our audience today about your journey and how you've gotten there.
Okay, so if I go way, way back,
Yeah.
both of my parents were human resource executives.
Oh my gosh.
So I grew up with the whole, is it in their wheelhouse kind of thing. And that was more about your career.
Okay.
And so both of them really excelled in that field. And my mom, she was a teacher, and then she decided to go to work, and they realized how smart she was, and she worked her way up with Cox Communications here in Atlanta.
That is so cool.
So I really grew up with a lot of corporate talk at the dinner table and just about people's potential. And so as I got a marketing degree, started off with Xerox in their sales training program, which is huge. I still use it to this day.
Yeah.
And really thought I would go the corporate way, but then I ended up co-owning and running a construction company for 27 years.
Wow, that's so different.
I know, and using accounting, which is not what I was trained in.
Yeah, marketing is very different.
Very different. Loved all that, and loved most of the master's work in human resource development.
That's
so
great.
It all kind of came together when I started in 2016 in real estate here locally with Sotheby's.
Okay.
So all of those skills, the human resource development, because you're helping people,
Right.
You're helping executives, entrepreneurs,
Right.
creatives find the home that supports them and refuels them to go back out and do their amazing job.
I love that. So they're like finding their almost oasis. They're away from the rest of the world. And
respite.
yeah. So what was the pivotal thing for you to go from owning the construction into real estate? What was that aha moment? Were you burnt out? Did you just feel like you didn't know what you were going to do with your life, or what?
I pretty much knew what I wanted to do with my life.
Okay.
So it was really a matter of being misaligned for about 30 years. From that marketing degree and the human resource development and the interior design at the Art Institute, I knew I wanted to be more creative. However, I was stuck in a lucrative business in a position that I needed to do, not that I wanted to do. And so once I hit a certain point, was going through a lot of life change, and I knew at a certain point that I did not want to stay in an office crunching numbers the rest of my life, that I wanted to be out with the people and using the skills that I knew I had. So in 2016, I started to make that change and went and got a coach, and we discovered my personality is extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceptive.
Wow.
And so that is not, I
Doesn't
should not
work
be
well
doing
with numbers. Not at all.
Should not be a controller, because I always wanted to be out with the people and out with the design objects that I was doing the accounting for. So I made the switch, and it really picked up on all of my gifts, which I love to see in people, and then create an environment for them to be the best person with the most potential with their gifts from their home environment.
This is such a great story, and this is exactly the reason why I wanted to have you on, is because so many of us work so hard in, the corporate grind and just grinding, and you get to this point. I remember when I first started out of college, I was like, okay, I'm going to make six figures. That's my goal. Then I make six figures, and then it's like, okay, I want to be a VP. And then it's, I want to be this, and then I want to be that. And, it's always that, like, but it's almost based on all the subconscious things that you've been told.
Right.
And I remember I was sitting, I don't know, I had gone on a date or something once, and somebody's like, well, what do you do? Like, what defines you outside of, work? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'd given up.
Yeah.
I used to love photography. I used to love doing, like, interacting. I love coordinating meetups and networking. Like, to your point, I'm very passionate about that. And I, thinking about this podcast, I started it because I'm like, I want to share whatever knowledge everybody else has. I want to level the playing field for people. I want to make it possible for people to explore that. So tell us a little bit, I know, with the wheelhouse, how did you decide on that? And tell us about your book. I'm super excited about it.
So the whole thing, so my framework it ended up being in the shape of a home, because you're building upon things. And the first thing you need to do is discover, who am I? And many of us lose operate out of our egos in the middle part of life from college onward. We're either focused on a career, or we're focused on our children or family or something other than what we were. Not that we weren't meant to be career people and mothers and things like that, but it seems as though we lose ourselves along the way sometimes. And so my framework, especially for those entering their mid to late part of their career, is to say, did you lose yourself along the way? What did you used to like to do when you were 11, 15, before everybody else told you what you should do?
Right.
And are you living the life that you want to live? Because here we are approaching 40, 50, 60, and we have half or a quarter or a third of our life left. What do you want that to look like?
Right.
And oftentimes we have chosen an environment that looks good on paper. It's what everybody else in the area is doing, but something's missing. And it shows up as frustration, sadness, loneliness, anger. And so I try to go a little deeper than aesthetics and how much money do you want to spend on your home, to what is going to fill you up and what do you want to do in the next stage of life.
I like that, because I find when you're at that point and you're really trying to push through. I can look back to multiple times in my life where I've just wanted to push right through the wall.
Yes.
And, I've been hired in roles that, I remember I had this one boss that said when I was getting hired, I need a bulldog that can just get things done. Right. And I'm like, well, I can do that. That's me. If you need me to push through, I don't care what other people think. I'm just going to go for it.
Right.
What I found was, by doing that, it damaged some of my other relationships. And so then I had to change that. And it really wasn't me. Yes, I do push through and get things done, but I want to do it in a way that is inclusive of the community and the environment, and, thinking through what is the impact of this.
That's right. Well, and aren't you happier for that?
Oh my gosh, so much. Because it's so funny. I'll never forget. I had someone say to me once, I was struggling, and they were like, well, maybe you're just at the highest that you can get, or you're at your point. I'm like, no, that's not possible. And to your point, it was the misalignment.
Yes.
I was totally misaligned.
Yeah. And it may be, so in the wheelhouse, there are 8 areas to your life. And the way that I just discovered this is when I was switching from being that corporate controller into real estate to be an entrepreneur. I took a personality test, and then my coach had me fill out the wheel of life, which has 8 areas. Only one of them is career.
Yes.
So the rest are spirituality, which is kind of a sleeper. We don't realize how much we need that. Family and friends, finance, got environment, and all the other things. So
it's almost like, I don't know, is that feng shui circle? Like, I've seen that when I did my house.
Iterations. It's
Okay,
very much a coaching tool that's been adopted into a lot of different disciplines. So I adopted it into your living environment.
I love that.
Yes. And so as I was switching my career and I was being coached to look at that circle to see what was going up and down, I started helping real estate clients, and I would start to categorize them into, oh, this is a career finance move. They've gotten a big promotion. However, they have to move to Seattle. This now changes everything. So it's a career move, but what do they want their home to look like to support this new part of their career?
That's so interesting.
It can't stand on its own. You have to look at all of the areas.
And I think so many people, especially executives, compartmentalize.
Sure they do.
And you always
be productive.
Right, to be productive. It's like, okay, I'm having this blow up at home, but I need to get this done, and I've got this deadline, and I'll deal with it later. I've got, I know some people are like, I've got this bill to pay, I'll worry about it later. It's not that they don't have the money, it's that they don't have the time to think about going in and logging in and doing it.
That's
and
right.
so
Well, it is, I do work with, some famous folks, some famous authors, some entrepreneurs, some sports figures, some high-end executives, and their life, they operate in a different way.
Oh yeah.
In
Totally.
a completely different way.
Totally.
And so I'm now working with several folks that are middle, like empty nester age.
Yep.
And they want to make the best of their life now that they've completed a good part of their career. They have a huge nest egg. They have all this money, but they want to now enjoy their family. We're looking at family compounds. We're looking at, okay, I have 2 more years with my daughter. I want to stay where I'm at and enjoy that. But what am I going to do next? I'm going to dinner tonight to talk about this. What is the next step? I can't wait to hear this update, right?
Yes.
So it's all about maximizing. You have done an absolutely amazing job maximizing your career. But now that you can take a half a step back and look to the future, what do you want for the rest of your life? Now that you've succeeded so well at your career, I want to be with my grandchildren. I want to travel. I have a new love interest. Maybe we'll move in together. So romance is one of those spokes. You have to look at all of them to be maximizing your full potential, not just at work.
That is such a good perspective, because I know so many people are really just thinking about, I'm just going to grind till 55 or I'm going to grind till 60. Exactly.
I mean, at a certain point, we need to enjoy ourselves.
Exactly. And, I moved from New York to Florida to be here, to be around my parents, because they're older, they're in their 70s and late 70s and going into 80s. And, one of the things that I found was, when I was in consulting, they were like, you have to be in New York to be a partner. Finally, they supported me coming down here. And I realized it wasn't necessarily the lifestyle that I wanted, because it was taking me away from my family so much.
Right.
And so that was one of the things that I just was like, okay, I got to find a way to make this work.
That makes sense. And sometimes, we grind and we grind. I mean, I remember years and perhaps decades where it's like, I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other. I'm going to get this business from $1 million, and then all of a sudden it was at $8 million. And it's just like, it was 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I didn't have children yet.
Yeah.
And once I had children, it's like, okay, we're going to close on Sundays. And then it was, it's still 6 days a week. And then we thought we were going to hire people so we can go to their sporting events. And so you just have to balance out. As life changes, it's inevitably changing. People think, I'm a toddler, I'm a child, I'm an adolescent, and then I'm an adult. From 22 to the day I die.
Yeah.
It's not true. There are stages even within adulthood. And as life changes, your home should change with it.
I love that perspective. That is so, because a lot of people think about, oh, well, this is my forever home, or this is,
they don't realize it's forever for this stage of life.
Right.
And if they don't change something, you can repurpose a room. You can add on the back as you have a different need of the home. You may keep the home and get a second home as your needs change. But you do need to reevaluate where you are in those 8 areas as your life changes, or it's about to change, or you want life to change, to make your environment match so there aren't any pain points. If you come home and you're feeling frustrated or angry, you need to really pinpoint what that's about.
If you're a senior leader who keeps saying yes because it feels easier than slowing down to prioritize, you're not alone. I work with leaders who are operating at a high level but paying for it with burnout, overwhelm, and self-abandonment. When you get clear on what actually matters, everything elevates. Your impact, your focus, your legacy, and your peace of mind. If you're ready for that kind of clarity, I'd love to talk. Book a free call with me at freejoycall.com. Right. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I love that.
Yeah. And the subtitle is An Empowering Guide to Stay, Go, or Reno. That is not just your home. It's also, do I switch companies? Do I switch careers? Do I switch roles? Do I find a new romantic partner?
I love that subtitle, by the way. Yes. I was like, what do you mean by stay,
go,
or reno? I'm like, are we talking about houses or are we talking about our life? What are we doing?
It makes you think a minute. And I did that on purpose. It's not always about the house.
No.
Many times working with people, I'm like, that house is not going to fix this problem.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That is so true. People have kids to fix problems,
Yes.
And
Let's
you're
get a
like,
new
no,
puppy.
no,
That's
not going to work. It's going to
Although,
add stress.
After it's a puppy, it'll be sweet. But
Yeah.
No, but you really do have to sort of look ahead. And the analysis, the wheelhouse analysis, is in the shape of a wheel. And so you take the quizzes and answer the questions. There's some success stories to give you ideas for what your life could look like. Mm-hmm. And then you rate each of these areas in your current situation from 1 to 10. And you want an inflated tire. You don't want a flat tire. So if you
or lopsided tire, right? One that's like
kind of
limping around,
and that's going to be a bumpy ride for your life.
Exactly.
So you're going to try to maximize each of those areas.
Mm-hmm. And how do you find? Is there any way that people are using AI to help with some of this? Like, I would think you could populate the questions in it.
I totally
ask.
could. I've thought of this. I haven't gotten that far.
That's okay.
My next step is in-person workshops, because all the questions in the book are from the past 10 years of me working with people, me talking with my mastermind, and just tallying up scenarios and success stories and what didn't work, so that I could put formulated questions into the book that people could use to assess their own lives. Next will be workshops. And then I have thought about making an AI model so that people could just do it online.
Yeah, that's one of the things, because I'm a personality junkie. Like, I love it. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you got a quiz? Sure, I'll try it. Let me see. Let me find out more. Because it helps with self-awareness.
Yes.
And, it may not 100%, like, depending on how it comes out, it may or may not 100% align to you.
Right.
But it also depends on how you answer the questions.
That is true.
Because so many people I know will complete these things how they think they should be.
Very much so.
And they're like, well, that's not me. And I'm like, well, did you answer them truthfully?
Yeah. Or your work persona.
Or your work persona, exactly.
Which may not be who you really are.
I took Myers-Briggs. I remember I've taken it a couple of different times, but like I took it when I was sitting in the office, and then I took it at home, and I was totally different. Yeah.
I was an introverted sensing.
Right.
Because I needed to be an accountant.
Right.
But so that really did. I had a headache on the left side of my brain for years.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was operating not from my strength.
Yeah.
I operated from what my experience was.
Oh my goodness.
And so once I really figured out how my brain worked, I was like, well, I need to change this.
Right.
And I think that begins to give you a look at who you were meant to be. But also, if you are, I don't want people to feel stuck, because I had 27 years in a controller position. Mm-hmm. And it was a big leap of faith for me to just reinvent myself, which I did at age 50.
Yeah.
And was extremely successful. I 5x'd my income.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing.
Wow.
I've developed a framework about that change and what I do. So it's wonderful. But for so many years, like I'm very tenacious, and I negotiate a lot, and it's a high level negotiation with multiple zeros, and it's people's livelihoods and their family life and where they go home for respite that I am negotiating for. Yeah. It's a very heavy thing. So I am a bulldog when I am negotiating a contract. Yeah. But if you walked in my home, when I come home, I have beautiful pink chairs in my office.
I love it. You're going to have to send me a picture,
I
because I love pink. Well, of course,
yes, it's a beautiful, calming color.
Yes.
But if you met me out in my work persona, you'd be
think, like black chairs, black,
you
whatever.
would think like she's got some modern art and like nothing soft.
Yeah, like
there's so
whites
much
and
soft
blacks
in
and
my
gray.
home, because I need to go home and replenish myself so I can go back out the next day or the next 7 days, because I work whenever.
Right.
And I've got to keep going. So I've got the lovely spa-like bathroom and the pink chairs and the throws and my reading corner, because when I get up the next morning, I'm on it. So that's what I tell people is your home should replenish you, because you are out there being the person you need to be, but you may have a little bit of an alter ego that is the real you that I want you to get in touch with, that you develop an environment that reflects your professionalism to the outside world, but replenishes you in some way, in some part of your house.
That is so great. I think about when I was living in New York, and I lived in 4 different places, I think. Mm-hmm. And I I was grateful because obviously I could afford to live in a decent apartment or home or, condo, whatever. But I think I always did. Like everybody would walk in, they'd be like, "Oh, it feels like a home."
Yes.
And it feels like somebody's lived here. And I'm like, at first I was like, "Oh, well, is it like too cluttered or what?" And it's like, no, it's that it's a home. It's loving, and I would always work I would work to create that home loving space. I never realized how much thought went into painting.
Yes.
Painting, like picking the right colors for each room.
Yes.
Because if you don't have the right color in the room, and I know I'm going off topic for a second, but like
it's really not off topic.
it's okay. Yeah, that's true. But it can totally impact you
It impacts you, for sure.
I had followed some guide and was like, "Oh, okay, I need to put yellow in my office." And I had yellow in my office for a while, and I was like, "This is not right for me."
Would you wear that shade of yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, so it should not be in your room.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add here, aesthetics are a huge part of what I do. I'm very aesthetically oriented. But what I have found is that my model operates out of Maslow's hierarchy, which is a pyramid. Yep. Aesthetics is up at the top, below self-actualization, which is the goal. You are going to be self-actualized or expressed and supported through your home. Aesthetics are at the top. So colors do matter, and I love a good color.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I've got a paint deck in my car right now. But below that are all of the others needs in Maslow's hierarchy, which many people do not address in their home. Physiological's at the bottom. Really? Can you sleep at night? Oh, okay. Do you have a partner who snores? Are there sirens outside? Wow. We need to fix that because that is affecting you on a daily basis. Next comes safety. Do you feel safe walking through your parking lot? Wow. Is your neighborhood safe? Do you have mold in the home? That's the next one. Yeah. Then comes esteem. Does your home represent you professionally? Are you able to refuel yourself there to go back out as that persona? And then there's love and belonging. Do your friends and family feel comfortable? Do you have a space to entertain your friends and family? And then it's cognitive. Can you learn in your community? Do you have a space to podcast in your home or conduct a Zoom call? And then you have aesthetics.
Wow.
If any of the bottom needs aren't met, you can have a beautiful home and not feel comfortable.
That is so, I have never thought about it like that. I think that is such a great perspective because, when I think about the home, I've always thought about, I guess, and I traveled a lot for work and I still do. I love to travel. Yes. And that's one of the things that, people are like, "Oh, you're on the road all the time." I'm like, well, I kind of, when I go to, and I love that hotels will have certain scents. Yes. So there's like certain hotels that I go to that I actually feel like I'm at home.
Yes.
Because I've been to that brand so many times that it gives you one of those feelings of just like.
Very smart on their part.
I know.
They
spend great money on that at least from what I've researched. But yeah, so I think thinking through that and seeing how you can set up and actually like when I do travel, I have like duplicates. So I don't have to take it from home. I have
a bag to go.
Yeah.
With all of your things.
With all my
and you do your
my
same
travel
routine
things
in the morning.
Right. Right.
That settles your nervous system. That's very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this. This is such a good thing. So tell us a little bit more about the program and some of the things, maybe some successes that your clients have had.
Sure. So many, there's so many from the younger people to the, I have some clients who are 89 and 94 right now. And so, of course, they were executives and they've lived a great life after. However, my favorite folks are the midlifers because they've had enough of life experience to know what they really want now.
Okay.
And they have probably gotten to a point where they have some financial success, and so they do have the means to really live the way they'd like to live. So executive here in Atlanta, a national huge brand, he retired. So in this case, it's a fella, but it could also be a woman in the same shoes. He or she kept the home, and in the family neighborhoods, had a divorce a little bit later, and the kids needed to finish school, so stayed in the same neighborhood, but it was turning over to younger families. Had a lot of maintenance in the home, but once the kids moved away, they were like, gosh, I'm so bored here. And the neighbors are so nice, but they all have, like, I could be the grandfather. I need to be around people my age, and I have the money to do it. Why am I living here? So found that person a home in a really kind of swanky downtown area with lots of restaurants where they could walk down the street, maybe meet some people, and not just being a dad anymore and an executive. But from there, they decided, well, I'm going to start to travel. My kids live in other cities, so we have a great airport here in Atlanta. But also went up north and bought a second home, and now he's kind of a figure in that community. And so he is so happy, and we have just broadened his world.
Wow.
Based on freeing him up from the home that he felt stuck in.
Yeah. And so many people have that. Like, they do get stuck. They're like, I don't want to live here. I can't live here. You know, my parents went through a divorce a couple of years ago. I bought my dad out of the house so that I was like, so I could help and so that my mom could stay. Because that's one of the things is, like, we've talked about it. We're like, do we sell it? Do we keep it? Our house is amazing. It's right on a lake.
Oh, beautiful.
You hear the birds chirping outside, and it's surreal. Like, moving from New York in, like, to your point, sirens and all of that, to just birds chirping. I feel like I'm in Cinderella. Like, honestly, when I wake up in the morning, I hear the, and it's
they
like.
say that calms you.
It totally does.
Yeah,
I just laugh and listen to them, and it is so great. Yeah. I really, really love it. So.
You have to start off your day or end your day or both, settling yourself down and re-establishing that connection to your actual soul. And so in my book, I talk about how the home should be a reflection of your soul. Wow. And it starts with a routine, but where do you have a space in your home to do that routine?
Okay.
Right?
Okay. That is interesting, because I think about, like, I've had different roommates and things, and sharing space. If you share the space together, and even thinking about, like, couples when they move in together and they've, they're getting a new space where they're joining, they don't want to offend them or interrupt the other person's schedule. But I think that's one of the things that you're like, you got to work out and figure it out,
And it can't be, resentment will build if one person makes the decision on the home. Because I've had people say, oh no, we don't need to, he's working or she's doing this or whatever. We don't need to involve them. I'm like, they're going to hate something.
Right.
As soon as they walk in, they're going to absolutely hate it.
Yep.
And then if that person doesn't say anything, it's quiet resentment that's built up. And then that affects the romance spoke.
Oh, yeah.
So the romance goes way down.
Wow. And communication.
Yep. So you need to make sure every person in the home has a space for them to be themselves.
That is so great. And what do you think about, like, we're going to side note for a second, but, like, with kids too? Because, like.
Including kids, yes.
Yeah.
You may have an introverted creative person. Do they have a space to work on their project? Because the clean, more logical, I say logical, we're all logical, but we just think in different ways.
I love it.
So the more linear thinking person is going to come in and say, that's a mess. Let's just put that away. It's bothering me. I can't think with that clutter. You have just ruined the whole creative person's project. No. And they may or may not get back to it. And so we just have to understand that about the personalities in the home.
That is a great perspective, because I'll walk in and, like, I think about it, and I'll walk into with my mom or with my sisters, and I'll walk into the home and I'm like, oh, I just want to help them clean up because they've got the kids that are running things around. And I never thought about that, but that's one of those things that sometimes it's helpful because they're overwhelmed and they don't have time to do it. Yes. But it's like, it's innate in my DNA that I will see, if I see something out of place or something, I'll move it and, think through that stuff.
And so in my book, you might be too young to remember Oscar and Felix, the Odd Couple.
Oh, no, I love the Odd Couple. Yeah.
All the arguments were always about he's a slob and he's a neat freak.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't mean to offend and aggravate each other. It was super funny.
Right.
It's not so funny when it's in your own home.
No.
So the creative person, like, if you just had a space for them to, like, a closet with shelves to just lay that project the way it is, all the papers all messed up, just lay it in there and bring it back out to the table when you don't need the table. Yeah. It would solve a lot of problems. So I just think people need to look at who is living in the home. I'm a personality theory junkie.
Me too. Yeah.
And I think growing up with human resource managers,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
part
I
of my
could
DNA.
imagine the stories.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
fun. I was fascinated. So now it's about, okay, that's because they're an engineer. I have a brother who's a wonderful engineer, and he's a little sloppy,
Yep.
right? And he wears mismatched clothing.
Yep.
And
We were talking, Alex and I were talking about that too the other day about like, I just wear bland things or I just do this. Yeah.
And I think it's his persona also, because he's the genius. He is truly
Right.
I think he is actually a genius. He
Yeah.
has 26,
Yeah.
whatever you call
Yeah.
plaques.
Yeah. I know what you're
You
talking
know what I'm
about.
talking
Yeah.
about? Where you're really smart and you
Yeah.
get a...
It's like the Mensa thing,
Yeah.
but it's like, you
Anyway,
get the plaque or
super
something.
smart,
Yeah.
but he's a little messy. My sister-in-law, who's lovely, knows exactly how to manage him.
Yeah.
And they work together really well. She's a creative person, and she's just like, that's Bill, that's him.
Yep.
But wow, have you seen his woodworking? Now that he's retired, he has a place for his woodworking.
Oh my
and
gosh.
that's his outlet. It's a bit of a mess, but it's a lovely home here in Morningside.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's his area.
Yeah.
if I can pull
Let
my
him
car
do
in,
it.
I'm good.
Yeah. That is so great. Well, I want to ask you one last question to share with our audience. What brings you joy?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, what brings me joy and always has is seeing people's potential and helping them, seeing the person inside, minus the trauma, the barriers, the things that have gotten in the way of them reaching their maximum potential, and seeing them overcome those barriers to actually live a beautiful life.
I love that. That would bring me joy too.
Yeah.
That does. I love that. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today and sharing your book and your podcast and all that stuff. Thank you for coming.